100 pages and I'm already like, this is devastating. I think that Sunrise on the Reaping is my favorite installment of the Hunger Games series. Using celebrity names as curse words, I think that's stupid, straight up. I'm hard to please. I'm picky about my romance novels. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This week we're doing a little reading vlog, a very chill, very like relaxed timeline reading vlog. I'm not gonna rush myself here. I don't have to finish any of these books during this vlog, but we are at least going to be reading together. I realized when I was looking at the videos that I've uploaded this month that I haven't put a single reading vlog out for the month of June, so that's why we're doing what we're doing today. I have a few books that I am starting / in the middle of that we're gonna be like mood reading through together. One of those an audiobook, the other two are physical print copies. The audiobook I've got, let me just open it up for you, is Here We Go Again by Allison Cochran. And this is one that I have on my Summer Hopefuls TBR, so that's exciting. It's also queer romance, so happy Pride, love that. And then we've also got two print books. The first one that I've already started and I'm already loving it is Sunrise on the Reaping. I picked this up from the library the other day because my hold finally came in after like literal months of waiting for it. And I'm not very far at all. I think I'm on like chapter 4. But I'm loving it. I'm already like getting emotional about this book. And we're not even to the Hunger Games yet. So this is going really well so far. And then, as I said in my previous vlog talking about I want to read more nonfiction, especially this summer, I decided that I'm going to pick this book up off of my physical TBR. This is A Strange Stirring, The Feminine Mystique and American Women at the Dawn of the 1960s by Stephanie Coontz. And I have read a book by Stephanie before, and I liked it. I didn't love it, but I learned a lot from it, and so I figure this one will be kind of similar. Maybe I'll like it even better. We'll see. This one is shorter than that one. It's only, let's see, it's only 186 pages. So this is not a super hefty book. It's a little bit more academic than what I've been reading recently. It might be kind of a challenging book for me to get through, but I think that I'm going to learn a lot from it, so I think it'll be good. The other thing I want to say before we get started is that I did finish another book off of my 25 in 2025. I finished The Teenage Slasher. I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. And I have very, very, very conflicting feelings about it because I didn't like it. Like, I wasn't invested at all until the last chapter. I don't even know how I kept going. Probably because about halfway through I started tandem reading it with the audiobook because I just genuinely could not get myself to be interested in this book. So I think the only reason I didn't DNF was because of the audiobook. But the last chapter was really good and the last 20 pages almost made me cry. So how do you rate a book like that? You know? I ended up rating it 3 stars because up until that last chapter, I was like sitting at a 2-star rating. I genuinely did not like this book until the very end. And yeah, that's really sad because I had high expectations for this. I kind of expected to love it and it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. And I'll probably go into more depth on my thoughts whenever we get to the monthly wrap up at the end of this month. My battery's dying, but stay tuned. I'm gonna read some and then I'll update you whenever my battery's charged. I just want to say, Suzanne Collins is absolutely insane for writing something that is this devastatingly sad. Within like less than 100 pages and I'm already like, this is devastating. I am so deeply invested in this. I don't think you understand what a turnaround this is from I Was a Teenage Slasher. because I just came from a book that I did not care about at all. Zero shits were given, okay? I give every shit. I give every shit about this book. I need to know everything. And the fact that there are so many characters that are now like returning characters, because we've seen them in the original Hunger Games trilogy and now they're in the prequels. I'm so invested. I'm so invested, and coming from a very political person and someone who is extremely politically minded, this is political commentary. Like, how could you not read this and be thinking about our country, our current events, what's happening in the news? How can you read this and not think about that? It's incredible. The writing is incredible. The characters are immediately engaging, immediately interesting. I'm already dreading the deaths that are about to happen, and the deaths that have already happened. What page am I on? Page 118. By chapter 9, we have already had multiple deaths happen that have been devastating. I think this book is I think it's gonna emotionally ruin me. And I'm gonna love every second of it. I'm gonna eat it up. I can't wait to be ruined. In other news, I have also started Here We Go Again. I've listened to chapter 1. Nothing like super interesting has happened so far, but I just wanted to get it started today. I'll probably listen to the bulk of it tomorrow because I'll be driving to work. So I'll be listening to it to and from commuting, you know how it goes. But yeah, today's focus is most definitely this bad boy right here. I'm locked in. Everybody. It is currently 7:53 in the morning on a Friday, and I'm having a good time. The sun is shining, but it's not too hot yet. I know it'll get hot because it's the middle of June in Arkansas, but I'm enjoying my morning. I'm reading my little book, drinking my little coffee, also brewing some sun tea because it is the summer solstice today, so we're celebrating. And if you're hearing outside noise, apologies. You're going to, because we're outside. And I don't have a little clip-on microphone like all those fancy booktubers do, because those are expensive. Have you ever looked up how expensive those are? Those are expensive. I can't afford that. But yeah, anyways, I finished Sunrise on the Reaping. I can't remember if I've talked with you about this or not, because it just completely... It completely rocked my world. I think that Sunrise on the Reaping is my favorite installment of the Hunger Games series. Is that a bold statement to make? I don't know. But I rated it 5 stars, like, immediately, easily. I loved it so much. I cried. Good God, did I cry. I can't wait for the movie. I can't wait to see what they do with it. I am so excited to own it. Right now I have a library copy, but I want to own it in paperback because that's what the rest of my series collection is in. It's all in paperback. So whenever I buy it in paperback, I'll probably reread it and annotate and all the things, because there are so many notes that I want to make about this book. It was just brilliant. It was so brilliant. It was just a really cool representation of resistance and revolution, and that's something that I really needed to read, taking in consideration our current events. It just like really inspired me and put some hope back in me when it comes to resistance, and it was just really, really good. And Suzanne Collins is just really skillful in the way that she writes social and political like commentary, because it to me it doesn't feel like cliche or too like in your face, even though the whole book essentially is about a group of people planning a revolution of sorts. It doesn't feel like, I don't know, it felt fresh to me, and I just loved it. So I highly recommend it. I just adored it. It was so good. It definitely lived up to the hype that I have seen. It surpassed the hype. I think it's underhyped. I don't know if it's because I haven't had a really solid 5-star book in a while, or if I haven't been in a YA book that resonated with me in a while. Like I don't know why this book surpassed the original trilogy for me. And maybe it's because I'm older now and I understand the political message that the series is trying to get across. Because when I read them, I was young, you know, I was a little teenage Lucy. So at the time I was not concerned with the political climate of America. So I don't know if that's why I loved it so much, but God, it was so good. It was so good. I am almost done with Here We Go Again. I believe I'm 60% of the way through, 70%. And I'll probably try to listen to a big chunk of that today while I'm doing some housework, some laundry and stuff like that, you know, boring tasks. And I'm making a very small dent in A Strange Stirring, which is also very good so far. It's just the book out of the 3 that I haven't prioritized, but now that I have Sunrise on the Reaping done, I can focus on this. So that's what we're doing this morning while we're reading outside and listening to the birds. And thank you for joining me. I'm gonna continue reading. So cheers. All right, update on Here We Go Again. I am now 65% of the way through. I'm on chapter 26 and I like it. I like it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this book. Well, I don't know if that's true. I'm being a little bit too positive here. I do think that it is maybe a little bit long, and I'm not a romance reader typically, so maybe this is exactly the right length for a romance book. But I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, okay, we're together. We've like resolved the conflict. How much more can we like experience in the remaining 35% of the book? So I'm kind of like starting to get a little bit, I don't want to say bored, but maybe uninvested. I've been very invested up to this point, but now my interest is starting to kind of wax and wane. Like, it's not consistently invested to me. But other than that, other than the pacing being a little bit of an issue, not much at all, just a little bit. Other than that, I've really enjoyed this. It's been really good. I like the road trip aspect. I think I already said that I love a road trip story. I like the characters. I don't love them. I think they're a little bit too maybe tropey. Like, one of them is like it's Grumpy Sunshine a little bit, but I don't even really know if there's a Sunshine character. Like, I think if I were to assign them a title, Logan would be the Grumpy and Rosemary would be the Sunshine, but honestly they're both kind of grumpy. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like you can't even say that. It's grumpy, but for different reasons. They're both neurodivergent, which is cool. Love to see that representation. Obviously, they're both lesbians. Also very cool to see that representation. This is the first queer romance that I've ever read, I'm pretty sure. I've read other books with queer romance representation, but it hasn't been explicitly like a romance book, if that makes sense. So this is my first of those. And it's been a good experience. But like I said, the pacing is just kind of losing me a little bit. So I think I'm just gonna up the speed of my audiobook and hope that it gets a little bit more interesting. I do expect to maybe shed a tear or two by the end of this, because we are dealing with basically like a road trip to the death, because Logan and Rosemary are driving their high school English teacher to this cottage in Maine that he owns for him to spend like his last weeks, because he has cancer that has spread everywhere. And you know all of this like just by reading the back of the book, so I'm not spoiling anything. But let me make sure I'm not spoiling anything. Yeah, okay. So I know that I'm probably gonna cry a little bit. I am emotionally attached to the characters, so I do think that I will feel a loss when the death happens, because I'm assuming we're gonna read about it. Like, I don't think we could end this book without him passing away by the end. So I just don't really know what to expect for the last 35%. So I'm interested to see what happens, but I'm also like, okay, let's get to it. You know what I mean? So right now I think it's sitting at like a 4 out of 5. Depending on how the rest of it goes, it could lean into a lower or a higher rating. We'll just have to see. But that's the update. I'm gonna keep listening, keep doing my little activities for the day. I vacuumed, which is huge. I also cleaned out the vacuum, which is huge. Watered my plants, treated them for bugs, because there's something eating up on my tomatoes, and that is not okay. And I did a little bit of bullet journaling. I did a little collage, which I haven't done in months. So that felt good to stretch my creative muscles a little bit. And I also started editing some videos. So I've been pretty productive today. I'm very proud of myself, very happy about that. I'm starting to get a little bit hungry, so I think I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna eat for lunch, and then yeah, I'll update you when I've got something to say. Ever since my library hold came in for the physical copy of Here We Go Again, I've been switching back and forth between the audiobook and the physical book, and then sometimes I'll do like both at the same time. And I think that what I'm gathering, what I'm learning about this book experience in particular, is that I really like reading the physical print copy better. And it's not really that the narration is bad, but I think that I'm able to read at a better pace with my eyeballs for this one. And even like speeding up the narration in Livy has not had like the same positive effect. I don't really know how to explain it, but something about the way that the narrator is like starting and stopping and like the pauses that she's using, it really makes it hard to adjust the speed in a way that makes it like good for me. I really don't know how to explain that, but all that being said, I think I'm enjoying reading the print version better. Like, I stopped the audiobook at like 67%, and then I read a few chapters, and I was like, okay, that's probably enough for right now. I'll take a break. And I checked to see like the percentage, and now I'm at 77%, and I just feel like I flew through that. So maybe there's nothing wrong with the pace of the book itself, and it has everything to do with the speed of narration. I don't know. Let me know if that makes sense. If it doesn't, that's fine, but I'm just glad that I'm enjoying it more now. And I'm glad that I'm not bored. I still have obviously a little bit left to go, so it's possible that it can just go downhill from here, but I'm back to being invested. So I just wanted to let you know that before I continued. That's the update. Okay, final thoughts. Final thoughts on this book. It was very sweet. It was very sweet. Reading it, print version was the way to go, I think. It was sad. And it made me like replay some of my own grief. And that was weird, but also cool, because it's just cool to connect with a book like that. So it was just a solid book. It was solid. It's not a 5-star book. There are things that I didn't like about it, but the things that I liked about it far outweigh those small critiques. Like, for example, using celebrity names as curse words, I think that's stupid, straight up. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's quirky. I think it's dumb. And it was just all throughout the book, and it got excessive to me. But like, stuff like that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme, you know? So overall, I would say I'm probably gonna give this book a 4-star rating. just because it was solid. It was solid. I don't think that I can confidently say that I loved it, but I definitely liked it. And for a romance book, it was good. You know, I think I'm just not the typical romance audience. I'm not a typical romance reader. So I'm hard to please. I'm picky about my romance novels. But this one was a good one. If you like romance, you're probably going to like this one. Yeah, I'm very pleased that I finished it today, because I really didn't think that I was going to finish it until next week, because when I was looking at how much time I had left in the audiobook, it was telling me 4 hours. I finished it in half of that time, maybe even more than half, like more than half. Anyway, I finished it a lot more quickly than 4 hours. So I'm very pleased. That means I get to focus on my nonfiction read, which I'm happy about as well. I'm about halfway through that now. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at, my friends. I'll probably have a couple more updates for you when it comes to that book before this vlog is over. But we're nearing the end. We're nearing the end of my reading week, so stay tuned. Alright guys, it is Saturday evening. I still have not quite finished A Strange Stirring, but I'm getting really close. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna have time to finish it before I need this vlog to be edited and scheduled to upload. So I'm gonna leave it where it's at for now, but by the time the monthly reading wrap up rolls around, I'll have some full fleshed out thoughts for you. I'm in the middle of chapter 6 right now, so I'm getting like pretty close to the end. I'm a little over halfway through. I'm enjoying it. It's not my favorite nonfiction read on feminism ever, but it's good. So with that being said, let's talk about the books that I have actually finished in this vlog. Let's do a little recap. The books that I have finished in this vlog were just such joys, such delights to read. Sunrise on the Reaping made me love reading again after being in a semi-slump of sorts and getting like flop after flop over and over. Could not get out of the 3-star range to save my life. This book saved me. It saved me. I loved it. It made me cry. I already can't wait to own it, have it on my shelves and annotate it. This is a library book, so I couldn't annotate it. I can't wait to reread it and make my little notes in it and everything. It just deeply moved me. So yeah, it was wonderful. Probably one of the easiest 5 stars I've given this year. Did it top Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey, which has been my favorite book of 2025 thus far? I don't think so. I don't think so, because comparing an adult fiction to a YA fiction kind of feels like difficult to me, but they're like very much on par with each other. My emotional attachment to both books, same level. Same level. The impact that they had on me, different. But they're both 5-star books, clearly. Here We Go Again, on the other hand, did end up, when I like thought about it for longer, I did end up rating it 4 stars, and I think that 4 stars is a solid rating for a romance book. Most of the time, a romance book is just not going to impress me enough for it to be anywhere above a 4-star. This was my first queer romance and I really enjoyed it. I think you really were able to kind of dig into the character backstory, backgrounds and everything, and understand like why they were the way they were. I do think at some points they were like trying to be a little bit too quirky with the characters, but it didn't bother me enough to make me not want to read the book. Definitely recommend reading it physically, because the audio narration, for whatever reason, made me feel like the story was like trudging forward at parts. But for the most part, the pacing of the book was totally fine. Like, I had almost no issues with it. I rarely felt like I was skimming or feeling bored of the plot. But it definitely wasn't a perfect book. So 4 stars feels good to me. I think we'll sit with that. I think you understand. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of this vlog. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for letting me share my reading thoughts with you and read silly little books with you. And yeah, if you've read these, please leave your thoughts in the comments if you'd like. If you haven't read them, let me know if you are putting them on your TBR or if you're wanting to read them. If you have any recommendations for me, leave those in the comments as well, especially if they are books that you think are similar to these but better. Or just queer romance in general, your favorite queer romances, drop those in the comments because I want to read more of them. But yeah, that's gonna be all for this week. All for this week's little reading vlog. Next week will probably be the monthly wrap up. I don't know if there's anything else I'm gonna put out before then. So be excited for that. I'll tell you all my thoughts, all of my deepest, darkest thoughts on all the books that I read in June. And then in July, Summerween is happening, and I'm planning on doing some videos for Summerween, so get ready for some horror book content pretty soon. I'm so excited for that. It'll be my first year participating in Summerween, so that's gonna be a freaking blast. But yeah, if you'd like to subscribe to this channel and get me in your subscriptions feed, that'd be great. I'd love to have you here. Like this video if you enjoyed it. I would also really appreciate that. And yeah, I'll see you next time. See you next Thursday. Bye.